Hello and welcome. Good morning to everyone. And the FIFA World Cup 2026 group stages are done, and we had a cracking final day of the group stages. Both the superstars Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo took the field on the final day of the group stages, and we have the round of 32 set for the week to come. And to discuss this today, we have Shomik Chakraborty, Devashishan, and of course Somnath, our regular panelists for this morning show. I'll start off with Shomikda. Shomikda, firstly coming to today's first game, of course, the Colombia versus Portugal game. Portugal held again, once again, against a tough side, against a physical side. Of we have seen it again happening against DR Congo again, this time against Colombia. Only that great performance they showed against Uzbekistan, but Uzbekistan perhaps the weakest team in this competition. What do you make of Portugal's group stage journey so far?
Um, Ron, to start with, knockout stages in tournament football are completely different. For the big teams, the primary target is to get into the knockouts. And knockouts, it's about those 90 minutes. That's it. Once again, Colombia dominated Portugal. You said that was the first match. That was not the first match. First match was England versus Panama. England versus Panama was the first match, and I have
Yes,
serious reservations about Thomas Tuchel. I will come back to that. I have serious reservations about Thomas Tuchel. But see, Colombia, if they had a good striker, if they had a good number nine, world class number nine, they probably would have won the game. But all said and done, once again, you look at this Portugal side and you look at the quality top down. So many game changes. So in knockout football, you need moments. In the knockouts in tournament football, you need moments. And Portugal have players to seize those moments. Game changes, they have plenty.
yeah.
So from that point of view, I will not the fact that they qualified for the round of 32 and they were expected to qualify for the round of 32. That's it, and they will take it from there.
Yes. Shomikda, rightly said. I'll come to Devashishda. Devashishda in sky blue colors as Argentina got that victory against Jordan. Me, myself in Norway colors, they have done good this time. But Devashishda, coming to you. Uh, Again, once again, Lionel Messi had his name on the score sheet, but of course, what was more important that the other players, Giovanni Lo Celso, fantastic free kick, Lautaro from the penalty spot. Argentina had two separate goal scorers on this sheet as they move into the round of 32, and they will face Cape Verde, who have also impressed so far. How do you make Argentina's performance in the round of 16 before we go to Somnath?
Yeah, I think the biggest positive for Argentina from this game was to converting those set piece moments. Means both the goals were scored from free kicks, and in fact both the goals were brilliant goals. The first one, but it's also means we in fact saw Messi smiling to see, means he would be more proud to score that goal. And then later on, he missed a free kick. He missed the first free kick after coming onto the pitch in the 78th minute. That went a little higher, and then that one means that the goalkeeper, the Jordan goalkeeper, he was just staring right to see the ball and going past him. So that's the brilliance of Lionel Messi, and 3 out of 3 wins. Yes, and Scaloni has fielded a completely different side. Yes, and that the defense line was completely a new one. So I think Argentina will take heart out, but the biggest talking from point from this round of matches, the last day was no Ronaldo and Messi in the quarterfinals, and that is what we all were expecting, that both the superstars will face each other in Kansas City. That is not happening. So I think from Argentina will face Cabo Verde, if I'm not wrong. But
Yes,
I
yes.
think for Portugal, they have made it very, very trickier for them to march into the following rounds.
Absolutely, and if Portugal won this match today against Colombia, they would have gone into the path of Argentina, the Argentina route, and would have faced them in the quarterfinals, but now they will face Croatia and of course eventually either Germany or France. And we'll see a Germany versus France game as well. But before we come to that stages, to talk more, just a bit more about the group stages, Shomnath, coming to you. Panama, England got a 2-0 victory. Croatia against Ghana a 2-1 victory, which makes Portugal versus Croatia in the round of 32. Tricky for both the sides, but how do you make of these teams as we move on to the knockouts? England, Portugal, Argentina. We have lot many African nations also qualifying for the next rounds. The European teams have all done well. 13 teams from 16 have qualified. What are your overall thoughts, and who are the better teams in these group knockout stages before we move our discussion to the knockouts?
I think in the round of 32, Portugal will face Paraguay. Croatia, I think, will face. No, sorry, Portugal will face Croatia. Obviously, the path is again very tough, as we have
Yeah,
discussed in yesterday's
Portugal
live
will face
also, that
Croatia.
Croatia, yes. Then again, in the in the round of 16, if they are able to win this match in the round of 16, they will most probably they will face Spain. So again, these are quite a few tough challenges for them, obviously, because finishing second in the group is never done easy. And I think Colombia will face. I think Colombia will face Ghana. So yes, comparatively easier opponent for them. If Portugal would have won the match, they would have faced Ghana, and in the round of 16 also they would have got uh, easier opponent, one of Switzerland or Algeria. So obviously, and that's the difference we were talking about. I mean, scoring 5 goals against Uzbekistan is again a big again a good display of football. But when you have Colombia in front of you, they you have to face challenges. Obviously, it won't be that easy. And if you talk about the Colombian defense, I think they have conceded only 1 goal in 3 matches. So obviously, it shows that the Colombia defense is pretty solid. And obviously, if you talk about Portugal's performance, Cristiano Ronaldo was not that bad actually, but apart from scoring goals, he was carrying the ball, he was trying to give balls to other players to score the game. He was dribbling quite good, but again, when I think Joao Felix had a bad outing last night. He missed several chances, and which obviously denied Portugal, their goal against Colombia. Obviously, apart from them, I think Rafael Leo was quite better in the second half when he came on the pitch. Apart from that, Joao Neves didn't play yesterday's match. Ruben Neves was a part of the midfield. So yes, I think the coach tried to do some experiments, but it clearly, no, I would say not failed, but yes, it didn't match the expectations. And obviously for Colombia, I think particularly I was very happy because one of my favorite players, James Rodriguez, he was playing outstandingly well. And at this age, 34 years old, still one of the best players of his Colombia team. It obviously feels very good. Back in 2014,
Of
he was
course.
the Golden Ball winner, so obviously, it was a great match. But yes, Portugal's journey to the knockouts is somewhat very tough. And if they are managed to, get through the round of 32, round of 16, then I think obviously we can consider Portugal as one of the contenders to win the World Cup. But still, I think uh,
But
Portugal
but
team
the
doesn't look.
but the way they will go, they will go. They won't face each other in Messi in the quarterfinals. But if both the teams go, they might face each other in the final. But that's a long way
Absolutely.
to think about. If that happens, it will be perhaps the final of the century. We had a classical final in Qatar, but if Argentina Portugal plays the World Cup final, it will divide the world into two halves. But Shomita, coming to you, you are yourself are a England fan, right? And talking about England, they will face DR Congo in the round of 32, and that won't be that cakewalk for Thomas Tuchel's team. What do you think?
From to start with, I know England will win that round of 32 match against DR Congo because given the overall quality and given England have Harry Kane, Jude Bellingham, someone or the other will seize the moment, and it would be an upset of gigantic proportions if England lose the round of 16. But as far as I'm concerned, I want Thomas Tuchel to lose. I want, I badly want. If England lose the round of 32 game, if Thomas Tuchel loses, I would be the happiest man in the world because he is disrespecting Kobe Manu. Yesterday, even Jordan Henderson came onto the pitch, but not Kobe. I mean, you are marginalizing Manchester United players. You have an agenda. You haven't picked Harry Maguire, and yet you are bringing on Jordan Henderson, but not Kobe Menu. You have a clear agenda. I think Kobe Menu should take a leaf out of Roy Keane's book, Roy Keane, Mick McCarthy, and he should walk. He would be better off coming back to Manchester, having some quality downtime, and get ready for precisely. I mean, he is not part of this England setup. He has been left out. He's not part of this England setup. And I mean, he is just wasting time. Kobe Man is just wasting time there under Thomas Tuchel. So I'd be very, very happy. I'd be the happiest man in the world if Thomas Tuchel loses to DR Congo, but it will not happen.
Well, if considering England will win against DR Congo, they will face either Mexico or Ecuador in the pre-quarter finals. So in the round of
Once
16.
again, so the real test is at the quarterfinals, right?
Yeah, either Ecuador or Mexico, and both the teams won't be easy for England. And any game.
Mexico at Azteca or I mean
I have to
I think it is an
the,
Azteca.
the
Azteca.
I think it will be in Azteca. Yes.
Then it's a very tight game.
Of course, Azteca is the Colosseum of Mexican football, as they say. But Devanshish, is coming to you. A lot of interesting games in the round of 32 as well. Brazil will face Japan, England, Congo, as we mentioned. Argentina will face Cape Verde. On the other side of the spectrum, we have Germany versus Paraguay and France versus Sweden. And considering both Germany and France will win their 32 games, Germany will face France in the round of 16, and that will be a clash to watch out for. So, which are the top clashes that you are looking forward to in this round of 632?
Ron, if you ask me, I think France looked the most versatile as far as the attacking trade is concerned so far in the opening round of cricket matches. Yes, Kylian Mbappe, obviously Dembele, Olise, they have all looked menacing in the first round of matches, and their defense has also looked solid. So I think France, for me, will be one of the top favorites to make it to the at least a semi-final. I'm not saying an exit for France before the semi-finals. I may be proven wrong. Means obviously in football anything can happen, but I think France has looked the most dominating so far. Yes, and very clear. Another match that I'm looking forward to is the Brazil versus Japan game. Yes,
Yes.
Japan with that attacking player, and considering that only two out of the 9 Asian nations have only qualified, speaks a lot about the standard of Asian football. Yes, it's very disappointing when you consider that African nations have done so well. But I would say that Japan won't be a cakewalk for Brazil against Japan. Means they will have put up a strong fight, and yes, Brazil, they have looked, but one major concern will be I don't see Neymar starting for Brazil. If you ask me, I really don't see Neymar starting for Brazil because Brazil has really looked well, and despite the absence of, means obviously yes, he did came in as a substitute, but I think Matthews, Cunha, Vinicius, Ryan has been an outstanding in place of Rafinha. Means Rafinha's absence was not felt at all in the game against Scotland. So I think Rafinha and Vinicius Junior and both in the wings, Paqueta and Matthews Cunha. I think Ancelotti will think twice in perhaps substituting Neymar. I don't see him starting with Neymar, although he came in as a substitute in the last match. But having said that, I think it will be a very evenly contest match. I really don't want to jump out and say that Brazil is favorite marching to the quarterfinals. It is going to be tough.
Of course, and
Rohan,
as you told,
Rohan, before you go to Somnath, just
yeah,
because Debashish has mentioned Ryan, Did you see Ryan's that first touch inside the box against Scotland over the head of the defender, and Scotland goalkeeper pulled a fantastic
Hmm.
save. Otherwise, it would have been a goal. Shades of Pele in that first touch. If you go back, if you watch on YouTube, 1958 World Cup final, Pele's first goal, a 17-year-old Pele. Obviously, I'm not comparing Ryan with Pele, but once again, he is a kid and he is from Brazil, and he
Yes.
has inherited that kind of a touch. So if you go back to YouTube, if you watch it on YouTube and go back to 1958 World Cup, Pele's first goal, that touch over the head of the defender, and before the ball bounced that right footer into the net. Once again, obviously that was Pele, but that touch had shades of Pele. That touch from Ryan that made my day.
Of course, and Brazil known for Jogo Bonito, the beautiful play. It's good to see that skillful players are still coming up, especially when maximum of these players are playing in the European club football system, where tactical play is more encouraged rather than skillful and individual brilliance play. It's good to see all these individual skills from the South American teams that we have been talking about since long. So Brazil, Argentina, making this even for Argentina, Nico Paz, one of the brighter stars for Argentina's future. Yes, there was the.
No, 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 no. You immediately mentioned the name of Nico Vaz. I think
Yeah,
Enrique.
Nico
You
Paz,
know,
of
when you
course.
talk about Enrique, Ryan, Nico Vaz, I think that we could see the next Lionel Messi or a next Neymar. Means already they have already shown their mark in the world stage. They means obviously. And to talk about Nico Vaz, the game he played last, in fact, today morning. So I think this is something that the Argentinian fans will be hoping that they. It's too early to say. It will be too premature to say that he is the next Messi, but definitely he has showed his class. So as well as Ryan and Endrick. So I think the Ancelotti or Scaloni will have a lot in their in that dressing room when they have so talented footballers. So I think that augurs well for these two Latin American giants.
Of course, and it's good to see all these youngsters, skillful youngsters, come up because we are habituated now in the recent times to see tactical football. That is the European way, and we do love it, and we see it throughout the year. But of course, this individual brilliance is what makes football the
But
beautiful game.
Rohan,
So,
but
yeah,
I think it is a bit lopsided. This observation is a bit lopsided. If you look at Vini Junior, I mean, he is the next big star. He can do wonders with that football. What he can do with that football, I mean, that is out of this world. The skill. If you go to Matthias Cunha, someone like Matthias
yeah,
Cunha, you are getting. But once again, that type of that quality of skills, despite all of them migrating to Europe to ply their trade in club football, that is coming from Latin America, from
yeah,
Brazil
of
and
course,
Argentina mainly. That is coming
yeah,
from
of
Latin
course,
America.
of course. Latin American football, as I mentioned, that more earlier we used to see all these skillful players even more, and with European football, they perhaps the more tactical game is more encouraged than the
Yeah, yeah,
individual
very
brilliance,
true.
of course. Uh,
And now this academic culture has come that you pass the
yeah,
ball.
yeah,
Dribbling
pass the
is
ball,
not
pass.
encouraged. Especially,
Yes,
I mean, that is starting from under eight level, because they start at under eight.
I
So
remember
starting
in French League One, Neymar was booked for showing off skill, and
exactly, and if someone does showboating, he will be hauled up on the spot. So right
yeah,
from the academy level, what is happening at the clubs in Europe, dribbling is not encouraged. So
yes,
when you are doing that, so even in Europe, you no longer get a Ryan Giggs, for example.
yeah,
Even in Europe,
yeah,
you no longer get a Ryan Giggs. So
yes, yes.
it is just pass the ball, just pass the ball, just pass the ball. That is team play.
Yeah, yeah. So,
And
yeah, but
Pep Guardiola has done that. Pep Guardiola has done that.
of course,
Pep Guardiola has done that.
of course, and it's good to see all these skillful players come up. Lamine Yamal, for example, a brilliant example who has brilliant skills. Hopefully, he will continue with that skill for long and not resort much to European style of football. Somnath, coming to you, you have been quiet for some time, but Brazil, your team, will face Japan, and on the other side, Portugal will face Croatia, and if they win, considering they win, they might face Spain in the who will face Austria in the round of 32. And we remember Ronaldo's hat trick against Spain. So how are you looking forward to these clashes in the round of 32?
Obviously, firstly, coming to Brazil, I think it will be one of the most interesting games in this World Cup. Brazil versus Japan. Earlier in their earlier encounter, Japan has defeated Brazil in a friendly 3-2. But if we compare that Brazil team to this Brazil team, it's completely different. I mean, uh, in that match, the centre back pairing of Brazil was completely different to that of Gabriel Magalhaes and Marquinhos. So obviously, Japan, they are a good team. They are one of the most agile teams in this tournament, and we all are appreciating Japan's managers tactics. And there is a special tactic of him that is called the 4A tactic, in which when the ball is in the opponent's defense, mainly when the center back is trying to start the build up, then the two strikers of Japan will press the center backs. Two strikers of Japan will press the two center backs of the opponent or Brazil, for example, and the tendency of a center back is to pass the ball to the side back, or they will just shoot the ball in the midfield. And when one of the defenders will pass the ball to the side back, then the left winger or the right winger will come there and narrow down the space, and chances are there to gain the position and start a counter attack. So these has been the tactics, and Japan is playing one of the most pressing football in this World Cup. So obviously this is a very big plus point for Japan, and obviously for Carlo Ancelotti, he knows how to deal with such things, obviously. But here comes the skillfulness of Brazil, the way one skill can they can go past any opponents, and obviously if you talk about Brazil, especially their record against Asian teams has been brilliant. In the last World Cup, they have thrashed South Korea 5-0. Though South Korea and Japan are completely different in terms of metric, but still I think Brazil will have a hard match. But I think the kind of form they are in right now, it will be a 55-45 kind of match. But coming to Portugal, obviously, again one of the best matches we are going to see in this round of 16, Portugal versus Croatia. And Croatia has been that kind of team that without playing, the best football, they somehow manages to get to the quarterfinals and semifinals also. Obviously, as a Brazil fan, they have knocked out Brazil in the last World Cup, and obviously they will continue. They will try to do so with Portugal also. Just crush another dream. But Portugal needs to be alert, and I think this Croatian team is the weakest Croatian team if we talk about the last three World Cups. So the last three World Cups. So obviously Portugal has the, if you talk about pen and paper, Portugal has clearly the chance to win the match. But the kind of form Ronaldo and Joao Felix is in currently, that would be a trouble. But if you talk about other players, Vitinha, Joao Neves, if they Bruno Fernandes, if they play their level best, I think that match won't be tough. But I think that will be a very close encounter match. Somewhat 1-0 or 2-1 victory will a scoreline of that magnitude can happen, obviously.
Of course. Sumita, coming to you, taking the cue from Somnath, he mentioned about Japan and the gameplay. Japan is actually proving to be the flag bearer of Asian football and for long. And we have seen the big money boys like Qatar, if you say Saudi, they have done very poorly in the World Cup. And Japan, with a proper structure in place, proving for the other Asian teams as well how to move forward. And even teams like Cape Verde have proven that money is not the only thing. Great lesson for Indian football, to be very honest.
I'm coming to Indian football because today, watching Argentina game, I got a couple of realizations. I mean, I'm coming to that. But he made a brilliant point, Shomnath. And this Japan, this style, Shomnath, this style is very, very similar to what Germany did in 1990 World Cup. They would do the same with Rudi Boiler and Jurgen Klinsmann at the top. It was called a Viper formula. They will go out and come back in. And that press, that was for the first time we saw two strikers simultaneously pressing opposition defenders. And when after that, the next block is Lothar Matthäus. He could play as a number 6, he could play as a number 8, he could play as a number 10. One of the greatest ever. Lothar Matthäus, the next block. And the block after that is either Thomas Hassler or Klaus Augenthaler, who played as a libero. So it is very similar to what Germany did at the 1990 World Cup, and they are unbeatable in that tournament. They are unbeatable. They're the most dominating team one of the most dominating teams in a World Cup. Coming to Japan, first of all, they have class. Money can't buy you trophies. That is number one. If they have someone like Kairo Mitoma, I think it would take them 50 years to unearth the talent like Kairo Mitoma. Now, only few months ago, they went to Wembley and beat England at Wembley. Now, 1992, when they launched the J League and brought in Gary Lineker and all, the target was to win the World Cup in 2050. Because they said Europe is 50 years ahead of us. So we are playing catch up. So by 2050, it is not like a fluke. It is not like a flash in the pan. By 2050, we'll reach a level when will not only will we win the World Cup, but we will dominate in global football. That has been the trend set, and that has been the concept. A country that took 2 atom bombs in 1945, and now one of the, arguably the best economy in the world. They have 200 international brands. 200 international brands. So Japan is Japan. Japan is Japan. Japan has been a benchmark, be it economy, be it lifestyle, be it civic sense, the way they clean up the whole thing, be it civic sense, be it progress, whatever they do, that progress. Japan has been a benchmark, and even Europe, the first world, struggled to. First world is even playing catch up. So Japan is Japan, and Brazil and Japan is a very, very tight game. Eventually, Brazil have players, more game changers in their ranks, and that flash of brilliance might decide the contest. But Japan will give them a run of their money.
So, the question for you: Andres Schürrle and Müller played the same way in 2014, like 1990.
Yes,
from someone from your team only. I can see the United logo.
No, yes, but the thing is that 2014 they had just one striker. They had one number 9. They had one number 9, and 1990 they had 2, Rudi Völler and Jürgen Klinsmann, because they were playing 4-4-2. Now teams no longer play 4-4-2 these days, but back then that formation was on vogue, and that Rudi Völler and the way they used to do it. If you go back to 1990 World Cup and the game against Germany versus Holland, you will see Holland hosting Ruud Gullit, Frank Rijkaard, Marco van Basten, Ronald Koeman. So that Holland team, the way they dominated them, one of the best matches across all World Cups.
Of course, and if we start talking football, we can go on for hours, but we have to end the show. Unfortunately, I'll end with Devahis with one match that the whole world will be looking forward to, because Lionel Messi has been. We have said that perhaps Qatar would be his last World Cup, and whether he will continue in USA or not, we did not know. He went to play club football in the MLS in USA. And next game in his den in Miami, for the same stadium he plays club football in, they will face Cabo Verde, who have also punched above their weights in the group stages. How do you look forward to that game? Messi with 6 goals so far, 19 in World Cups so far, currently the leading goal scorer. How do you see that match? Vozina, the goalkeeper, have already mentioned that in press media that it's his dream fulfilled when they were tied up against Argentina. So how are you looking forward to that game, and do you see them going forward all the way to the final?
Ron, obviously it's going to be an uphill task. Means, let's admit.
No, yes, I'm talking about Argentina, because do you see them going to the final? How are you looking forward to that match against Cabo Verde?
Argentina will win that game. Argentina will definitely be the favorites to win that game, and by at least by a margin of 2 goals. I'm no doubt. Means until and unless, but Capo Verde itself, we must celebrate that they have drawn their 3 games. That is itself
Yeah.
a success story. A nation which is only 5,30,000 population, and to be coming to the World Cup stage for the first time and drawing 3 games, I think that itself is a success story. But they have nothing to lose against Argentina, so they will be enjoying. I think it will be a very intimidating crowd because the stadium will be 90% Argentinians, and with Lionel Messi in this kind of form, and now that Lautaro Martinez has also been amongst us goal scorers, I think Argentina will fancy themselves going into the pre-quarter finals.
Of course, and whether Argentina and Portugal meet themselves, we also have a comment on that, that Portugal and Argentina will meet each other in the finals, and we'll look into it. It has been a great discussion so far, gentlemen. Somnath, Shomikta, Devahista, and we'll come back again tomorrow. Today is Rahul's birthday. We are missing our football expert Rahul, and we wish him the best on his birthday. And hopefully, the Brazil fan in him can see Brazil go through to the next rounds, and we have more such discussions. So thank you so much for watching, and please do share your comments and feedbacks on our comment section. So that's all for now. We'll see you again tomorrow. Thank you.